What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of my AEW Dynamite / WWE NXT recap, reactions, and review for November 6th, 2019, a Wednesday, because this is the Wednesday Night War. Apologies if you were looking for last week's. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to catch the beginning of the show because of work, so I didn't feel it was fair enough for me to give a full reaction, recap, and review. But if you want to watch me at least react, do my live reactions, and watch party, you can head on over to twitch.tv/L_Murpho and check that there. That's also where I stream this stuff. But enough of that. Let's get into what was an amazing Wednesday night of wrestling between these two brands, which I believe are arguably the best brands of wrestling going on right now. Yes, SmackDown was great last week. From everything I've heard, I caught part of Cole and Brian, which was amazing. Raw I heard was meh. There was that show in that foreign place that I don't care much about. But Wednesday night seems to be where it's at, and Saturday night, this Saturday night, may be where it's at even more with Full Gear. A hell of a show by AEW. Was their go-home show. Meanwhile, NXT, it's the first NXT since the invasion happened, so we got quite a bit of stuff going on there with a build-up to Survivor Series, as well as building up to War Games. So let's get into it. AEW kicked things off with a very impressive, very strong singles match with an iffy finish. Meanwhile, NXT started off with a hell of a promo. AEW is Pac versus Trent Beretta. Now, Trent, he's been with Chucky T for a while. He's with Orange Cassidy. They both came out. I've really enjoyed what I've seen of Best Friends and of Pac and Trent Beretta. But, I mean, of Trent Beretta and Chucky T as the Best Friends. But I've always wanted to see Trent do singles work, because I know Trent can be an amazing singles competitor. And this match showed it off amazingly. Trent was able to go toe-to-toe with Pac. They had some great spots, some good near falls. Orange Cassidy, still one of the best gimmicks in professional wrestling. He killed it when he came up and got involved with Pac. I loved it. Some really hard-hitting spots on the outside, including a vicious spear by Trent to Pac here. All around, solid match. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Pac hit his, I don't know what he's calling it now, but it was the red arrow in WWE. He hit it awkwardly. Trent, I think, was supposed... This was the one thing that really hurt the match, was the finish. Trent was supposed to kick out, but he didn't raise his shoulder, it seemed. Referee stops at 2, so Pac immediately transitions into his Rings of Saturn, and Trent passes out. He doesn't tap out, he passes out. So I believe that... by the way, I apologize, Godfather. You're getting warned by Nightbot about your symbols. Sorry about that. I have a cap on there. It's pretty high, so I'm sorry for that. But I'm going to get back into this. Again, referee, I think the plan of this match was for Trent to kick out, and just he must have forgotten or something, and the ref, normally when you're a ref, if it's supposed to be like 3 and it doesn't go, and the person doesn't kick out, the ref is supposed to continue and follow through with the 3, but the ref didn't do that. And I can understand if Pac is upset after this as a result, but overall, I think the match was great, despite the iffy finish. And it goes to show that if the planned finish was for Trent to pass out, it shows that Trent didn't tap out. He technically kicked out of Pac's finisher. And so long as Trent doesn't get a lot of crap for maybe not kicking out there, it shows confidence, and it's a good push for Trent for singles competition, which I would love to see. I can see, however, in the chat here on the thing, I'm a jig all over here, that it was exactly just fire symbols Godfather put up for AEW, and I agree. AEW was fire. Death Crow says Cole and Brian from SmackDown last week was so good. It was. But speaking of invasions, because Cole and Brian was, OC. The OC, AJ Styles, was in Full Sail University to kick off NXT alongside Karl Anderson and Luke Gallows, the Good Brothers. Cut a promo, came in, talked some smack. Tommaso Ciampa answered, challenged these boys, these very successful boys, to a 6-man tag match. Who is he gonna get? Why, his War Game buddies, Matt Riddle and Keith Lee. Main event set, get hype for NXT. NXT. Breezy saying Freshly Squeezed is so awesome. Orange Cassidy, yes he is. He's very, very good. I love me some Freshly Squeezed Orange Cassidy. Next up for AEW was Cody's promo. Cody spoke on the whole situation of him versus Chris Jericho at Full Gear, the main event for the AEW Championship, and good God. If the Jon Moxley promo from it was last week or 2 weeks ago wasn't any indication, this promo plus the two promos that happened later that we'll talk about show just how good AEW is at promos, be they structured or just letting somebody go off. You could feel the passion, the rage, the intensity from Cody, the emotion as he let this promo go. And I was into it. I was like, let's go. Let's have this match right now. I want this match right now. As footballers and Breezy say, unscripted promos are awesome. I gotta agree after this promo. And we got a revelation from Cody, which makes me wonder who's gonna win. Because Cody said if he loses, he will no longer challenge for the AEW Championship ever again. Didn't say as long as Jericho's champion ever again. So that makes me think maybe Cody will actually win it, or maybe Cody's okay with never winning the championship, or they'll maybe find some storyline MacGuffin to get him out of it later. Maybe a Hangman Page turn does it. I don't know. Maybe we'll see. Hangman's kind of been iffy with his allegiance and friendship to the Elite and everything in recent weeks, especially on being the Elite. But this was a great promo. Hands down, amazing fire promo, though it might not be the most entertaining promo of the night. We'll get to that later. Meanwhile, on NXT, which Death Crow's saying NXT repeatedly in the chat, they were also really good. We had Damian Priest versus Pete Dunne in a really good rematch. These two men can go. They've got some really good chemistry together. At least they did in this match. Their first match, from what I remember, was pretty solid as well. Dunne just decides after a slugfest, no F's given, delivers a low blow to Priest, does the finger break right into an armbar. Priest taps out immediately. Dunne gets his win back on Damian Priest, but can't celebrate it for too long because one Mr. Killian Dane wants to get involved with Mr. Pete Dunne, and Mr. Damian Priest lays waste to both men, makes Dane look strong. Very, very strong. Footballer says Marty comes out and aligns himself with Hangman. They turn against the Elite. I would love that. Or maybe Marty comes out and aligns himself with the Inner Circle. Or maybe Marty comes out and helps Cody win. I haven't heard anything about Marty eventually showing up. I forget if his contract's up with ROH, but I would love to see Marty finally show up in AEW, regardless of what he does. The two forgotten members of the Elite, I suppose. I would suspect Hangman turn over an MJF turn. Possibly. I would think so. A lot of people think an MJF turn would come, and I wouldn't be surprised if it did, but MJF seems very like... I like the whole MJF thing where it's like when he's around Cody, he's a face. When he's anywhere else, he's a heel. I kind of like that dynamic. Back to AEW, which we were talking about. The following match, it was Private Party versus Dark Order. It was basically almost like a loser final of the tournament, where basically whoever won the match would finish third and would be inserted into the rematch for the AEW Tag Team Championships between SCU and the Lucha Bros. I didn't even know this was happening. I didn't know who SCU was going to be facing in the Full Gear. I didn't even know they were going to have a match Full Gear. SCU was on commentary for this. They were solid. I didn't really, with NXT going, I didn't get to pay attention much to what they were saying. This was a really good match between Private Party and Dark Order. Private Party really shined. Dark Order did a good job of really beating down and cutting off any hint of a comeback from Private Party up until the very end. Like, Private Party would get hot tags in, they wouldn't even get an attack in. They'd come out on a house of fire and get cut off immediately by Dark Order, which I love. That builds up to the kind of dominating presence that Dark Order is supposed to have as a gimmick, as a tag team. But eventually, great storytelling. They have those quick cutoffs that make them look so dominant, look like they're going to win. The Private Party has no chance. And then out of nowhere, Private Party hits the gin and juice, a finisher that I love, that Frankensteiner into the cutter for the win. Out of nowhere, Private Party inserts themselves into the triple threat tag title match. I still want SCU to win that match though, because I don't want that reign to end so quickly. But that's going to be a hell of a match. Inserting Private Party into that as a new element into SCU versus Lucha Bros, not Lucha House Party, Lucha Bros, will be entertaining. Meanwhile, over on the NXT side, we had Tainara versus Santana Garrett in a solid ladies match. These two women, I think, both shined. It was very impressive, solid wrestling between the two of them. Really impressed, really gave more screen time to these ladies, showed them off. And it was also, I believe, Mauro Ranallo stated, was kind of almost like a tryout for Team Baszler for Tainara there. Other than that, just solid match, nothing else really to write home about. Then I'm going to go ahead and we're going to go right into the next. Well, actually, we'll go into what happened next on AEW, which was, I think I'm giving this moment of the night. Although the brawl at the end of the show, I'm getting ahead of myself. What happened at the end of the show on AEW might change my opinion, but no, it's got to be this promo. This package of of Chris Jericho. It was pretty much a package aired and created by Chris Jericho, which was great. It was all Inner Circle members, his aunt / friend from church. You had Jake Hager saying nothing. You had Sammy Guevara praising him with a subtitle saying Spanish God, getting kissed on the forehead by Jericho. Jericho in a bath of bubbly with a little bit of the bubbly, saying a little bit of the, cutting a normal promo, and then saying his biggest responsibility as champion is finding a little bit of the bubbly. Virgil shows up to make a promo and praise Jericho, which, if you know Virgil's whole shtick is that he will do anything for money. So you're watching this promo being like, he's saying all these nice things because you know Jericho secretly paid him to say this. Oh my God. And then Jake Hager just standing there in his interview segments, just breathing in deep and saying nothing. Sammy Guevara's line, the footballers just pointed out, Sammy Guevara just saying Jericho is 46, 48 years old, the youngest champion in AEW history when he's the only champ. Oh my God, this promo was just pure comedy and heel gold. Like 5 stars, 6 stars, 7 stars in the Meltzer rating. It was unbelievable. This was moment of the night. I know I normally do my superlatives at the end of the night, and I'll restate it then, but this was just amazing. I absolutely loved this promo. Going back over to NXT, this is where we hit the halfway mark. We had Dakota Kai in her Prove It match versus Shayna Baszler. And Dakota Kai fought really hard, really strong, really went balls to the wall here, really tried to bring it to Baszler. Baszler had some good psychology by attacking the injured knee of Dakota Kai. Eventually, though, Dakota just can't get the job done. Baszler catches her in the Karabuta clutch. Kai slips out of it, almost gets a surprise win. Would have loved it if that did happen, because I'm a huge Dakota Kai fan. But Baszler gets her right back in the Karabuta clutch, taps her out. They all start attacking Dakota Kai. Team Ripley comes out to try and make the save. Which, by the way, Team Ripley and Team Baszler both have one spot left to fill. This was a Prove It match for Dakota Kai to earn that final spot. Instead, it looks like Team Baszler is getting the better of Team Ripley. So Mia Yim actually comes out with a kendo stick, just destroys everybody with the kendo sticks, makes a statement almost that she wants to be the one who is the final member of Team Ripley. We will find out what happens with that later on. Overall, I think it was a really good match. Really showed that Dakota Kai can step in there and go toe-to-toe with Shayna Baszler. Liked the storyline development after the fact there. Back over to AEW, and before I move on to the next segment, Breezy says it was one of the best segments she's ever seen, I believe, in wrestling. I think it's the best thing that'll happen in wrestling all weeks is footballers, the Jericho promo. I tend to agree. We had our mid-show match of Riho and I believe it was Shauna versus Jamie Hayter and Emi Sakura. And this match this was a really entertaining match. This might be one of the better women's matches that AEW has had. The one weakness that I gotta say of all the divisions that AEW has against NXT, when you compare it to NXT, is a women's division. But I can't remember who's been saying it. If it's big stupid footballers, Breezy, or anybody else who regularly comes by, maybe who talked about it. But you know, I think it's true when it was like, you know, I think the women's division with AEW might be a chemistry thing, might be an exposure thing. We haven't seen these women as often as the NXT ladies. They haven't worked with each other as often. Maybe at least with NXT, these ladies, before they even hit NXT TV, they're working with each other in house shows and whatnot. So maybe it's a chemistry thing. It could also be the fact that Emi Sakura trained Riho, so they also know really well how to work with one another. The chemistry was there in this match, and I really enjoyed it. And this match also finally did a good job. Emi Sakura, up until this point, had been working as a face, but she's going up against Riho, who's the ultimate baby face in the women's division, aside from maybe Britt Baker, for AEW. And they finally had Sakura start doing some heel stuff, got a cheap-o out of nowhere win, was like doing taunting for Riho. So it looks like we're finally gonna have some sort of face heel dynamic going into that title match. Sakura gets an interesting win to make you think maybe, just maybe, she can beat Riho for the championship. She won't, but maybe she will. Makes things a little more intriguing going in. Footballer says the last 2 weeks AEW has some good women's matches, some solid women's matches. I don't know if they've definitely not great women's matches, but solid to good. I can agree with you there, footballers. And then going over to NXT, we had a really solid match between Tony Nese and Angel Garza. Angel Garza really impressed here. I really enjoyed all the action. Garza eventually defeats Tony Nese, and the Cruiserweight champion Lio Rush comes out to congratulate Angel Garza, and Garza reacts because Garza's been portrayed as a face so far. He reacts by slapping Lio Rush, who's also been being portrayed as a face since he challenged for and won the Cruiserweight Championship. And there we go. We've got our heel against the face. Garza is now a heel technically because he slapped Rush in the face. They will face each other. I didn't even mean to do that, but I did. For the NXT, I think it is called now, Cruiserweight Championship next week, which will be entertaining as all hell. Then we got another promo from AEW, another creepy, spooky Brandy promo. She still had that weird veil. She was sitting in a weird chair with this weird atmosphere. She was talking about how everybody looked at her as just Cody's husband, that she didn't deserve the spot that she's in. She's cool but not talented. And then she talks about how she's going to prove everybody wrong. She is smarter than everybody, and she will play mind games and outsmart everyone before they get a chance to second guess their own opinion of her, and use Awesome Kong's brawn combined with her brains. Now, I don't know if that means they're going to be a tandem, or if maybe this is going to be some sort of gimmick, because we saw last week or 2 weeks ago with her promo, there was almost like some voodoo ritualistic-esque type of stuff going on. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe like it's some sort of thing where like through like some voodoo witchy magic, maybe like Brandy transfers like her intelligence over to Awesome Kong and they become like almost one being out of two. Would be interesting. I don't know if that speaks well to like the intelligence level of Awesome Kong, but it's intriguing and I kind of like it, and I'm interested to see where it goes. And it gives Brandy something that she can chew on, though, a character that she can work with, and I think she's really falling heavily into it and embracing it. And the promos have from this week, I think, was really good and showed as a result. Footballer says Tessa Blanchard could really elevate the AEW women's division. Yes, she could. I hope she joins, but I believe she's under contract with Impact for a while. Breezy says one thing I think is important with AEW in general, and especially with the women, is that for some fans, AEW is new and these wrestlers are new. We're only on week 6 of Dynamite, so I do believe eventually the storylines and chemistry will come together. I do agree with that, Breezy. Yes, I do think that AEW's women division will eventually improve, but for now, the difference, I believe, in skill and match quality between AEW and NXT it's a pretty significant gap. Back over to NXT, we get a Team Ripley promo backstage where Kathy Kelly catches up with the team. Dakota and Mia are both there. Kathy Kelly asks Rhea, have you chosen your final teammate? And she says she's impressed by the brutality that she just saw and names Mia Yim as the final member, spurning Tegan Nox's tag team partner and friend Dakota Kai. And Dakota is not happy and says, no, I get it. But I feel like this might be a slow burn to it. Either it's one of two things, which Death Crow brought up during the show. It's one of two things. It is either Dakota Kai is legit hurt again and she couldn't wrestle, or it's going to be a heel turn for Dakota Kai. We don't know. All we know about the final member of Team Baszler is that Tainara was doing a kind of like a tryout match to try and impress earlier in the night. I don't know if Tainara, though she's good, is gonna be that holy crap final member. But you know who would be? A spurned Dakota Kai turning heel and battling against her own former tag team partner and the team that she's on out of spite. It could be that, or it could be the fact that maybe she'll turn heel in the match and interfere. Footballers, was the match last year 4v4? I believe all previous War Game matches have been 5v5, but this year they're going with 4v4 for some reason. Also, teams seem kind of strange to me so far. Well, I mean, they've worked based on the story that's been told over the last month. But so I think they're fine. Cutting back, I'm gonna go ahead and jump into the next segment of NXT because that promo was really quick, and then we'll be able to get in the main events. We had Isaiah Swerve Scott versus Dominik Dijakovic. I don't know if this was again an audition spot, because we also have a mystery final member for Team Ciampa against Undisputed Era in the men's War Games match. And you would think maybe it's Johnny Gargano, but Gargano might have might have something going on with Finn Balor. We don't know, but it could very well be Isaiah Swerve Scott or Dominik Dijakovic. So it's almost as if this match was a tryout maybe for the final spot. And Isaiah Swerve Scott and Dominik Dijakovic tore it up. I think this is my match of the night. They went all out. They had some really great reversals, some great sequences, solid wrestling. Dijakovic had some great cutoffs. He was tossing Swerve Scott around. Swerve Scott was using his mobility and agility, hit some nasty bumps. I thought Dijakovic almost broke his neck a couple times. Solid match. I am really impressed with Dominik Dijakovic and Isaiah Swerve Scott. Now, moving on to the main events of the evening. We started off with the Elite, represented by Adam Hangman Page, doing real cowboy bleep, and one Kenny Omega versus the Inner Circle, represented by Sammy Guevara, the Spanish God himself, and Le Champion, Chris Jericho. Solid match, good back and forth, some good hot tags, solid action, good reversals. Kenny Omega had some really great spots. I really liked the work between all four men. Nothing incredible truly really stood out big time, so we'll see. But the big thing that happened here was what led to the finish. Pac comes out of nowhere, delivers a devastating low blow. You would argue that was maybe Jake Hager's move, and maybe it's gimmick infringement, but Pac showing that he really is the bastard. Hopefully that doesn't get me demonetized. With the taking Adam Hangman Page to Dick Kick City, and basically which led into a Judas effect 1, 2, 3 match over. Page would eventually brawl with Pac into nowhere. Was nowhere to be seen for the rest of the show. But then Cody comes out as Pac and the Inner Circle are laying the beat down on Kenny and on Hangman. Cody comes in, makes a save, stands strong. Then Mox comes out and challenges Kenny with the barbed wire bat. Jericho grabs Cody. They start fighting and brawling. Cody and Kenny are standing off. Kenny goes and gets his barbed wire broom. Crowd is going absolutely nuts at this point. And Santana and Ortiz come out and start beating up on both those guys because Inner Circle, Kenny's the Elite. I guess that's the logic there. but then out come the Bucks to make the save there. Huge brawl, goes all the way up to the ramp. Kenny and Mox end up gone. They fight into the back, but then eventually it looks like, I believe it was Matt. I think it was Matt or Nick. I think it was Nick who is going to get powerbombed. Kenny makes a save, and then Nick. So I guess Kenny maybe didn't fight his way out there because Kenny made the save. Maybe he fought back to the back after that, and then whichever Buck brother didn't got saved, the other one did the suicide dive onto all 4 members of the Elite. Crowds going nuts as the Inner Circle retreats back towards the ring down at the bottom of the ramp. The Elite's the top of the ramp. Everybody's going nuts. And then I can't remember. I think it was Nick Jackson just says, "Screw this, enough of this." Nick did the dive. Okay. I think it was Nick who also was like, "Nah, screw this. I ain't just gonna do a standoff." Goes flying into, runs and flies into the Inner Circle, and they brawl to end the show. What a go-home show this was for AEW. You built up all the storylines, you set the groundwork, you did small tweaks you needed to for matches that needed a bit of a build, and I can't wait for this Elite Inner Circle clash on Saturday. I am loving AEW. I've not been disappointed with any of their shows at all. This might be the best show they put on so far, and they really do know, like I say this every week, this is something they have over NXT. They really know how to tell a story and feed it through multiple segments of the show, like weave it through multiple segments. I love it. Meanwhile, on the NXT side, we got almost pretty much a dream match of the OC, which it was AJ Styles, Karl Anderson, and Luke Gallows versus Tommaso Ciampa, Keith Lee, and the original bro, Matt Riddle. Very solid, really good match. We got face-offs that I never thought we would see. AJ Styles, Tommaso Ciampa, AJ Styles, and Matt Riddle, Keith Lee, and one Luke Gallows. And Keith Lee deadlift curled Luke Gallows and then slammed him, and into I think it was almost into a scoop slam, a big time scoop slam. Matt Riddle with some sick kicks, just great action, just a really good solid match. Matt Riddle nearly killed himself, screwing up his backflip over the top rope dive, lightly kicked the members of the OC to knock them down, and then it looked like they were almost gonna give Ciampa a clean win on AJ Styles, which, after what happened with Adam Cole on Daniel Bryan, you would think that's never going to happen, but you kind of think for a second. But then Finn Balor comes out, makes the distraction, allows AJ Styles to hit a Pele kick into the Styles Clash for the one, or into a Styles Clash, and you think that's, or what, actually, I'm completely forgetting. It looks like he's going to go to the Styles Clash after he does too sweet to Balor. Balor gives him the Bullet Club guns as if yeah, we're buds. We're still buds. I'm coming out to help you, even though there's this whole Survivor Series thing of SmackDown versus NXT and whatnot. But then Adam Cole's like, brother, I'm aware of War Games and Survivor Series at the same time, and I'm gonna get my crap in for both. Super kicks AJ Styles, take him down, which allows Ciampa to sell to his knee, delivers his finisher. For the love of God, I cannot remember what Cole calls a finisher. I want to say Panama Sunrise, but I know that's his Avalanche Canadian Destroyer. And Adam Cole stands strong, stares down Finn Balor. Finn Balor smiles. Not sure if this is, I think that might be a tease for an eventual Cole Balor championship match, as opposed to more Cole trying to recruit Balor to Undisputed Era. Last shot. Thank you guys for the corrections, for letting me know, footballers in Death Crow. Solid end. And this was also, by the way, the 5-year anniversary of Balor's debut on NXT, so fascinating and good to know about that with Balor. It's bad I know the name of the finisher of the team I dislike. It's fine though. It's okay. Footballer says make Tony Storm the 4th for Shayna. She doesn't like Rhea, but Tony is faced, says Death Crow. I don't know. I don't know if you would do that with Tony Storm. And yeah, she's in a rivalry with Kaylee. She's in a rivalry with Kaylee Ray though, and she she's the face. I don't see that happening. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think she's coming over from wherever she is. So that was the show of AEW and NXT, and my God, these guys just don't pull punches week to week, and I absolutely love it. I feel exhausted and drained in the best way at the end of every single Wednesday night. As far as superlatives, I normally do moment of the night and match of the night, and then give an award for show. I try to do bronze, silver, gold, and rank all the matches. Moment of the night, without a doubt, was the Jericho video segment. So Cody comes in the Cody promo comes in a close second, and I think the brawl at the end of AEW comes in a close third there. As for matches of the night, if I am looking at everything here, eyeballing everything, I would have to say NXT I think had the better ring work, probably in between the ropes. I think I'm going to give what would I give bronze to? I think I'm going to give bronze to Pac versus Trent. If it wasn't for that iffy finish, I would probably make that number 1 or definitely number 2. I would then have, if I was going to go in complete order, let me read off all the first 3. I'm going to give Pac versus Trent the bronze. I will give Nice versus Garza the silver. And then Swerve Scott versus Dijakovic the gold for the night as far as matches. If I'm rating all of the matches together, looking at them how they are, I would have to say Tainara versus Santana Garrett would be on the bottom, followed by probably Riho and Shana versus Jamie Hayter and Emi Sakura. Then I would have to say Priest versus Dunn. Then Private Party versus Dark Order. Then I would have to say the AEW main event, followed by the NXT main event. Then I would have to say then we've got bronze, silver, gold from what I'm looking at here, which would be Pac versus Trent, Nice versus Garza, and Isaiah versus Dijakovic. So that's what I would have to say as far as ranking the matches. But as far as the better overall show and product, I gotta give this win to AEW. I believe, if I remember correctly, though, guys, correct me if I'm wrong, I didn't give an official... I don't believe I gave an official winner last week just because I hadn't watched the full shows. I think now, having watched the full shows, I think I would potentially... I can't remember right now, but I think I would give NXT the win. So unofficially, it's I believe we're 6 weeks in, so I believe it is now AEW 4 and NXT 2. But unofficially, it's NXT 4 or AEW 4 NXT 1. So yeah, that was the shows. I'm just gonna read these last few thoughts here. Give NXT 2 awards out of 3, but have AEW win. Technically, I gave the best match award to NXT. I gave the best moment to AEW. And if we're doing best moments, if I was doing best moments, bronze to gold, AEW took all 3 best moments of the night, bronze, silver, and gold, and they took one of the bronzes in best matches. As Reezy said, promos count. Footballers can't stop the better show. I'm not gonna say AEW's AEW just, I guess, is the better show, but that's not to say NXT's been bad. NXT has been great. Both these shows have been great, and it's been tough a lot of times having to choose the better show between the two. Like, it's not that I'm saying AEW absolutely destroyed NXT. NXT's making it interesting and making it really hard to pick. It should be the most important award. Best moments should be matches and promos. It should be the most important award. I like to make best moment more of a promo / backstage segment, kind of like whatever is a non-wrestling segment, unless it's something that happens like maybe in a match, like one spot in a match that's just better than everything else, or like an incredible finish. Just a couple of last things I want to mention. I just want to go through everything here that everybody said. I'm curious what SmackDown will look like with the full roster there. Hopefully it'll be as good as last week. That's what Death Crow said. Hopefully we get with NXT. Probably like it was before last week, so hot garbage. But who knows from footballers? It very well could be. Yeah, that's going to do it, guys. I'm all caught up with chat. I gave out all the awards. That's my thoughts on AEW and NXT for Wednesday, November 6th, 2019. Let me know if you're watching this back on either Twitch, on VOD, or on YouTube. Let me know. There are comments on both. Let me know in the comments what you felt about each show. Which do you think won? What was your favorite match? How would you rank the matches? What would you say is the best moment? And of course, I'll reiterate it again. What do you think was the better show that night? Thank you all so much for watching. If you're watching this on Twitch, be sure to drop me a follow. If you're watching me on YouTube, be sure to come over to Twitch and drop me a follow as well. But don't forget to also like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. That's going to do it for me tonight. If you're watching on stream, I just want to say thank you to Romeo, Wolf King 9, and Hotro Bubba for the follows tonight. I want to thank Footballers, Death Crow, Breezy, especially, and Godfather for engaging in the chat during the show and the reaction review. And also big thanks to Big Stupid and anybody else who I may have missed who got involved in the live show reactions. And again, also, yeah, like Footballer says in the chat, don't forget to check out my Discord server. You can find it in the description below if you're watching on YouTube. The command is in the chat. You can't see it here, but it's in the main chat on the live stream. So hopefully you'll be able to watch that back on Twitch if you watch the live stream back on Twitch. But you can find it on my Twitch main page anyway. All right, that's going to do it for me tonight, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for coming and watching. Peace, deuces, and until next time, I will catch you later.